morning, and thank you for keeping it Citizen Television. We are happy, and if you're just joining us, actually you're just in time for the best part of the program. Social Hour begins right now. It is Tuesday, and you know what we do here each and every Tuesday, and we have not disappointed you. Today we want to talk about, you know, sometimes you're in love with someone, you're in a relationship, and then vitu haziendi vizuri. You've had people use this phrase, it was not a bad breakup. It was not an ugly breakup. We are still friends. We are still co-parenting. You know, those good things that people say about each other after they've broken up. We are still friends. It was a healthy breakup. You know, how do you get to that space? How mature are you, Kwani? Somebody who wronged you, somebody mwenye alikutwanga character development, you still have, let me call it the audacity to say good things about them. But then the level of maturity that gets you to even speak good about your ex, that's what we want to talk about. How do you break up with someone in a way that doesn't really get ugly? Ugly enough to see what we have been seeing on social media for quite a while. People really tearing each other down, sharing screenshots of what used to happen when things were going nice in their relationship. I'm just mentioning a few things that we have observed. And have you ever gone through a breakup? Please share with us your thoughts, and we'll be glad to just, you know, talk about this. So we want to open up this discussion, and I have a panel of eminent experts on matters love, matters relationship, matters marriage, matters friendship. And they're here with me, two gentlemen and two ladies. The house is fully constituted today. Najua CJ wamengoja sana kushare. Finally. They share the platform, eh? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute,
Let me give you a moment.
Right.
When was the last time I saw you, CJ? It's been a minute.
I remember.
I think it was in September. Not even before September.
1 week before you went.
Yeah, so that was in August.
Wow.
Good to see you, and we are playing together on Sunday.
But good to see you. CJ and Cutie wanna take over and come and talk for you.
We should form this. We should form this.
And Roberta, in the interest of fairness, I give you a moment. Catch up.
Tunakuanga tusha catch up, so hata hatuna anything else to discuss.
Nice to see you.
But at least, yeah, it's true. But Safin, allow me to say hi to some people I had promised to say hi. Mafans wakubwa sana. Last week, my mom was in hospital the entire week, and the doctor who was taking care of my mom saw me and said, "You're the guy who comes on Citizen TV on Tuesday." Imagine kama saa hii na siwachochi, they are always watching this program. Dr. Sikuku and your team at Ego Nursing Home, asanteni sana for taking care of my mom.
We are happy. But then people don't know, we really do not take your time and company for granted. You taking time to just watch this.
Yeah.
Every person, whoever makes you watch on this panel, we appreciate. If you're just watching for the sake of watching, we appreciate each other.
Tunabamba lakini tujipe credit. Hata nikiwatch na bambikanga na
Nilisema hiyo.
how did I know all that?
Anyway,
very smart
guys,
girl.
today we're talking about breakups. They me spendangi topic. I don't know why. You know, I'm an advocate for love works. You know, love is a beautiful thing. So anytime we are talking about things did not go right and people have to go separate ways, Miss Pendi. But we have to, because in reality, if we don't, then people will end up really having ugly breakups zenye zitawasaidia kumove on. And that's why we have to talk about these things. So, hey, sijui nikianza na kuuliza.
Anza na break.
I'll be opening a can of worms. You know that feeling of a breakup? You know, that feeling of a heartbreak.
Inauma.
Inauma.
No.
Saki watu accuse that we are talking from an elitist, idealist point of view. We've never gone through it.
Inauma.
Roberta,
Ushaisikia
have
ile
you won the
watu wanasema Ushaisikia ile kitu watu wanasemanga hukuli. Ulali. Oh, you know, when it's not you hear stories, you think, sasa una exit. Thank you, ask that question again. When it's not you ask, you say, move on, leave him alone. But heartbreak, do you know you can actually die from a heartbreak? There's animals that actually die from a broken heart. There's couples, human couples that unaonanga moja akikufa, after a while mwingine anakufa. Or they just go quiet, they get depressed and they die. So heartbreak is something we should actually take seriously. And I like to liken it to breaking your leg. if you break your leg, you have to take time to nurse it, to clean the wound, to keep it safe, to keep it healthy, to take care of it. You don't harakisha your leg. Ati we pona haraka, move on. Situsonge.
There are so many good men out there.
There are so many. Yeah, we take time. So how come when it's the mind that's broken or the heart that's broken, we try to rush the process and act like it's not a big deal? And then saizi, kuna hii nonchalantness that inaendelea. Kuna hii, I don't care. Sijali.
Bobby wenda hapa anaenda kuchukua dictionary.
Huyo alisomea group of schools.
I hope tuja kudiscuss.
Ni sawa. My thought process iko ngangari.
Okay.
So, tunapenda sana ku downplay the effects and consequences of heartbreak, but it actually does throw you off balance. It makes you get into deep depression. It can actually kill you. So anytime you're feeling the grief of losing someone that you love, whether it was a horrible situation or a really beautiful situation that ended amicably, your feelings are very valid. So ningetaka tu tuanze hii conversation na acknowledge heartbreak inauma.
Inauma.
And it is real.
That's bad.
It's bad. It's bad. Heartbreak inauma juu. First of all, you've invested your everything, your emotions, your mind, your finances, you know, your physical, your time. You've actually invested everything. So heartbreak inauma. Like literally, do you know your heart breaks? Literally, people don't know, but your heart literally breaks. I'm talking about it because it's something I've gone through, and I'm telling you, Safin, it's bad. How kuli, how lali. You don't eat, you don't sleep. It's worse than... Sasa ndasema nini? Sitaki kusema it's worse than... Unajua kila mtu akona nini yake, but heartbreaks zinakuwaga mbaya. Juu unakuwaga umeinvest kila kitu. You've probably put in your all. Unajua, this person have given up everything for them. And then they just come and then it depends with the way the person will break up with you. You know, they're mature people. And that's why they say, when you're dating someone, find a kind person. Just find a kind person and find a very mature person. Because if that someone is immature and they're rude and they're not kind, it's like that's what breaks you. Because sometimes mnaweza katu na mtu na muongee na muagree, mwambie by the way I don't feel like tuko on the same page. Mnaweza achana vizuri because itauma, but itauma less. Unaona kuachana vizuri inaumanga less, but kuachana ugly na vibaya, and it gets ugly. It really gets ugly because now this person, they don't get it. Yeah, sha move on, anataka understand, anataka uelewe, yeah, yuko huko. And then that's why I'm saying get a kind person and a very mature person. And I think what who overlook maturity when you're looking for someone, you overlook maturity and kindness. So unataka tu hiyo the pomp, you know, the flash and the what. Hizo ndo zinakuwaga mbaya. So it's true, heartbreak really hurts. And mimi naweza sema, I know it's inaka weird, but mi sikudishi na sikuwa nalala. I never used to eat and I never used to sleep. For real. Mi nilikuwa nalia, Safin. Kulia ama kulia. Iyo, unaona hiyo kulia. Iyo, na ni ukweli.
Let's be real.
No, let's be real, Safin. Wacha nikwambie, Safin, unalia.
Ama kuachana.
Zote, because unajua, if a person is really nice and is really good, but you feel like you're not on the same page, your goals are not aligning anymore, unaget kuna hiyo yenye mnaweza feel mutual, like yes, umse ni mpoa, but goals zetu hazialign na tuko kimoja, but ako kind na ako mature about it. But sasa kuna ile mbogi ya we kwenda, unajua, like we sasa you see, ikianza kufika ni matusi, ikianza kufika ni mambo ya social media, you start dragging me around, you drag my family into it. Unajua kuna hiyo sasa, hiyo ndo naita immaturity. Right. So literally your heart breaks and it's not even easy.
And we'll talk about that, like how to do it. Is there a sanitary way, for lack of a better term, of breaking up? I mean, is it to see one or is it even necessary detail? But before we get there, CJ, I want to talk to someone out there who is watching this program, and it's deliberate that I started from that point of acknowledging that heartbreak is real, that it can actually really put somebody off. But then talk to somebody out there. I've had people say breakups can be a blessing. Like leaving someone or walking out of a relationship can be it could be for good. Aren't you to encourage someone? Ama hapo kunanga chat. Like it could be for better.
In retrospect.
Not that bad.
In retrospect, yes. But in the immediate, it doesn't feel so.
All right.
And I think there are a lot of things in life that when we look back to, we may say, okay, well, that turned out for good. but it doesn't negate what you feel at the moment that it happens.
In the heat of the moment.
Yes. So sometimes you can't really tell that this is for my good. You know, it's easier to think that when you have been in an abusive relationship, where it's either physical, emotional, verbal abuse, you can easily probably say, I need to get out of this for my sanity. There are those times when you're facing a lot of adversity and you even know you need to get out of it because of your peace, your sanity, your health. It's beginning to become detrimental to you. But where you were not seemingly in an abusive situation, but the relationship is just not working, and you have become codependent, and you don't even have nearly an identity outside of this relationship, and you're so used to spending time together, and they have so many qualities that you like and you love, and you've built so much together. You've been together for quite a while, 4 years, 3 years, 1 year of quality time, 10 years, 20 years. It becomes very difficult to leave and get out and to even believe that there's anything out there. And that's why sometimes people just stay, because you are so used to that kind of environment and you have built an ecosystem around it that you don't even think anything else exists out there. And so it only takes time and then you retrospecting and saying, okay, well, I didn't even know that after that breakup, I would become this kind of a person, or I would be able to do this. So I don't think that is something that for most people comes in the very immediate, but it could be for your good. Sometimes you discover yourself. Sometimes you find things about yourself that you did not know. You find new expressions. You find new people. You get to know the level and the depth of the strength that you have. You become more creative. Sometimes you meet people you would never have met and begin to explore areas you wouldn't have if you were in a relationship with the previous person. Sometimes they're very good, but they're also very possessive. So you move on later and you discover now you're a bit more free to network, to socialize, to be in spaces. And you know, if you were with that person, that would never have happened.
But just to get you clearly, that comes later. That discovery comes later in your journey of healing.
Yes.
By the time you're going through this breakup, in the immediate, you really do not see it.
You don't see it. And even those people who are in abusive relationships, they also do not see it. And you know, you literally feel like this is where your life is at. And I think this is why, you know, people who have even been in an abusive relationship never feel the need to leave, because they adapt. They will adapt to the abuse. And for some people, they think that is how the other person shows love. And if they have gone through abuse before, that might be their familiar way of love. You know, that might be what they think love is. So even when it is abusive, you've seen people whom even family, friends have tried to get them out of a relationship, and then they'll sneak back in, and they'll tell you how I'm done with him. Mostly ladies, I'm done with him.
I'm glad you said that, because that was going to be my next point. I'm glad you said that.
Because they will be like, I'm done. And then you bring them over, so they're at Cutie's house. You know, and Cutie thinks that finally my girl gets it. And then on Tuesday, you don't find her home after the show. And you're, where are you? That, oh, well, we just met for breakfast. It's all in bad. I think he's sorry.
We're still talking. Or you take
True story.
You take her to pick her things. You know, your girlfriend, let's go. I'm going to this time I've left that guy for good. Unamgojea kwa mlango alafu anakuja anakuambia, sweetie, just go. We actually talking.
It's not easy. It's not easy to see the best. That's easier to see in retrospect.
Yeah. All right. So CJ has reminded me of something. You know, when a woman, mwanamke akikuacha, by the way, amekuacha. Like, there are no two ways about it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Very true.
Because
we might dilly-dally, but when we decide to leave,
amekuacha, because they just don't wake up and decide that they call it quit. Women are the kind of people you will cheat, you will beat them, you will do what? Some women will really stay. Watarudi, watasamea, like 1,001 times. I don't know for men. Do men really tell you they are done? Or how do men do it? Or they show you? Because Sisi, we
move on.
I am wondering which women you're talking about, because that's not the truth. If there are people who stay and wish and fantasize that it can work.
Nah.
You know, it's sad that you always say the world in your own world. Women naturally are nurturers. And a nurturer will always give an opportunity and a hope that things can work. Even the ones who've left, they have left, but physically. Some are still invested emotionally. And that's why you will see some people, physically, yeah, they are even raving, wanaenda huko nje, they are partying until they take a depressant and they start talking of Timothy. Actually, niacha, if I see him today, and you wonder...
Timo was just chilling.
3 years. It's been 3 years, but you're still talking. There are phases of relationships, and you need to understand that a breakup hurts depending on the phases. I have my 5 that I described. There is the excitement phase, where you come in together, you are all happy. If you have not been in a relationship for a long while, you're finally into it. You are all excited. You've seen what you've been looking for, and you're excited. Some relationships, unfortunately, nowadays, don't last the excitement phase. You're easily excited, and that's where we say, easy come, easy go. And then there is the working, where now you start to plan together. We're going to do this, we're going to say our parents, Mairo Ratio, Koito, and you're starting to look forward and even investing. Last week we were talking about a joint account. Can we open our joint account? You're now working technically. There is no relationship that hurts like the one that was work in progress. Because work in progress is, it has been cut short, you don't know what will happen next. There is the phase that most of us are in, and especially people between the age of 35 and 50 are in this stage. It's called the fighting stage of a relationship. And every mature relationship must go through the fighting. The problem is, sometimes we fight internally and expose ourselves externally. Some few breakups does not mean that it's a natural breakup, that tukikosana leo and it is irreconcilable right now does not mean it cannot be solved.
This fighting, are you fighting each other or fighting to make it work?
It could be internal and external. Internally because maybe for lack of a good reason, mumekosa hata mtoto. And then your mother is here stressing you, mulisema hamtawahi nizaa. You know, that's an external force. Or internally, we are not now blending. Remember, we were working together, and then I want to delay some of the things that we are doing so that I can first gratify myself before I gratify the relationship. So fights could be internal or external. The disadvantage is when now the external forces become too strong for you as a couple and you cannot be able to fight them. And externally, now you start exposing yourselves. Sometimes I say, when the breakup happens, and it's a short stint that tumekosana tu kidogo, let's take our time. You know, even lovers take time from each other. Yeah, it's okay to take time. Even a year is enough to go and just reconcile with yourself. Find yourself. Ndio unasikia what you were saying earlier, some people say, anaachwa na haachiki, because they have already invested themselves there. Then there is the mending stage, the 4th stage. The mending stage is where utasikia watu wakiuliza, and how has this relationship lasted this long? Our parents will tell us a lot of forgiveness, and a lot of grace, kuvumilia. It is the reconciliation fact. But there is the last phase which every relationship must go through, the exiting stage. It can be a natural attrition or an attrition where umeona watu mpaka 70s wakidivorce. Walikuwa wamevumiliana
because of why?
Because of why. And all of a sudden, and sometimes some of the exits happen because of us, the children. Yeah, where uliona mamako akiteseka sana, ukanufaika ukaenda majuu, the end of the world, Australia, umebeba mamako ukaenda naye, umeacha budako. You know, naturally, you have exited those people. So all relationship, unfortunately, sometimes they don't go in tandem. It's not one, then two. Sometimes kuna relationships zinaanzanga na vita. Mumekutana juu ya vita, alafu mnaambiana by the way, tulikuwa tunafaitia nini, then you go to the excitement stage. Yeah.
But what you said is true, by the way. Kuna watu hata wako 80 years wame divorce, ni ile tu waja like officially, but the way they are living, or even 50 or even 40 or even 30, you'd find there are couples who are in real sense divorced, but wanaishi ni kama wako pamoja. So that's a thing also. But then today deliberately I'll not talk about telltale signs, what to show, ni nini inafanya watu wanaachana, because it's a whole different conversation altogether. I want us to get to the space where people have left each other and how it's done and the aftermath that comes after it. Tuonge kuhusu hiyo. Some other time we'll talk about why people leave each other and how to tell when to call it quit. But Roberta, ulisema inauma, inachoma. Is that why we see things that we see out here? Kwa sababu ya hiyo hasira. And what would be your thoughts about, you know, people really tearing each other down? Ma screenshots zinatembea. You wonder why the detail, you know?
Instagram posts,
yes,
tweets.
You know, this person was this. This person was
he didn't have this. He didn't even have money.
Let's elewa where it's coming from. You know, before we judge, let's elewa where it's coming from.
She's here, a lover scorned. Unajua kuna watu wana exist kwa relationships, lakini QT amemention your maturity, especially emotional intelligence, where people are not taking the time to figure out how to understand, manage, and communicate their emotions effectively. So this leaves people at a space where they can't even talk about the issues they're having because they don't understand what is going on in the relationship and within themselves. So they can't even manage the situation. So what happens? Emotionally immature people shout, fight, scream, cry. It's just like a toddler throwing a tantrum because they don't know how to say nataka hiyo ama analia juu anasikia kujikuna lakini hajui kukwambia anasikia kujikuna so atalia tu ama anasikia usingizi. Yeah. I'm sure you can relate.
I relate. Analia mimi nampea maziwa.
Exactly.
Anataka
kukunwa.
Ama anasikia tu usingizi but haelewi ni feeling gani yenye inamwattack na alikuwa tu sawa sasa macho zinataka kujifunga. So the easiest thing to do is cry. And that's how a lot of adults are moving around in the society. They do not know how to say, hey, that hurt my feelings. Let's talk about it. Okay, you don't want to talk now. Let's talk next week on Friday at 4 p.m. People don't want to do that. They like to gloss over, act like everything is fine. They'd rather ignore, be very avoidant towards communication or demand instant communication now when we're raging and we're angry. And then coupled with that emotional unintelligence where they do not even know how to say, hey, QT, I love you, but I feel like 1, 2, 3. It's always coming from a point of, si wewe ulinifanyia, sawa, tuone. So, mnaanza kufanyana. Huyu ukiona amepost quotes, Facebook, unaenda una post WhatsApp status. So, all your friends are seeing what is happening, but yeah, no ukiuliza, everything is fine. Us guys are okay. It's not about him. It's nothing about him. But these things, we can usually see them. So emotional intelligence inachangia sana kwa conversation because hiyo ndo inasaidia hata saa zile umekasirika. Because if I apply to my life, I used to be an angry person. CJ can tell you guys, I used to be an angry person. I used to be ready to shout and fight. And nitagi na wewe mpaka hiyo idea iland.
Lazima ushinde.
Lazima. Na saa ingine una realize you're not even fighting to solve. You're just fighting to be right and to win the situation because you feel very aggrieved over what they did. Alafu hizo issues zinaanza kupile hata unasahau nani alikosea nani wa last because mmekuwa tu mkikoseana sana na mkizisweep under the rug to the point that now it's just now beef against each other. So if I apply it in my life, the kind of person I am right now, I'm a very calm person. I'm very slow to anger. I know how to communicate my emotions. And even when I don't, I know how to take a step back and figure it out and come back. So when you reach this point, you realize nobody can shout at me because even me, I don't shout. And I don't expect anyone to shout at me because I will never shout at anyone. So you see, this makes conversations easier. This makes space for you guys to talk to each other. Hata kama umejam, unafikiria, but Bobby is easy to talk to. I can just go to her house and she'll listen to me, even if she's mad or angry at me. That's something people need to actively work on. You don't need to, it's okay to kosana. By the way, ni sawa kukuwa na beef ile hata mtaki kuonana. Shida ni saa zile mnaanza ku abuse each other, regardless of whatever anyone did. Where you start insulting each other, mnafokeana, speaking at each other. Na ikifika hiyo point ya kuexposiana, I'm thinking that reach point yenye someone is feeling not heard. So now they need to seek an audience. Because, okay, I've told you you're not listening to me. Let me post, because it gives them some sort of validation where these people will get what I'm saying. They'll see the kind of person you are. Yeah, because how come? And then this also happens a lot in situations of gaslighting. You know, you could be telling someone how they made you feel, and they're dismissing you, ignoring you, acting like nothing is happening. they avoid the conversation altogether, and then you start talking more. Now it looks like you're nagging. It looks like you're always complaining. You never have anything to say. So, by the way, Sitete, najaribu tu explain what goes on in the mind of someone who reaches a point where they're ready to expose everything. Yeah, so, mtu ana need validation, ana seek audience. Who else can hear me out? Who can listen to me? Because I'm trying to speak here. I'd hate to think that's the first solution people run to. Ati umenikasirisha sawa naenda kupost. I'd hate to think that's the, because sasa hiyo hata ni worse. Hapo kuna shida kabisa. Zote ni mbaya, but that's what happens in the mind of someone who's thinking, how can I hit them where it hurts so that now they can see how I feel, so they can come back and listen to me.
I like how you've, because the question was, why do people do it and where it comes from? Before we judge, why do people do it and how you've put it? And QT, I'd just like to hear your thoughts on, you know, whether that's fair, whether that's right, you know, going that direction. Umekosana na mtu, kuna vitu mlifanya mkipendana, messages mulitumiana, as lovers do. Maybe mtu akukua na meet his side of the bargain, or the lady was not doing ABCD. Mbona mkusolve kwa relationship unakuja kusema baadaye ati hata huyu mtu akukua hivi, hata udema akukua hivi after mmeachana. Is it fair? Is it right from your perspective? Hata kama umekasirika.
From my perspective, it's not right. But I like what CJ said. You see, at that point, umekasirika. At that point, when you're broken, you're actually angry. You understand? So, thinking about those things, hizo vitu hazikuangi hapo saa hizo. Safin, let me tell you the truth. Hata ufikiriangi vitu kama hizo, later on when everything has died down, ama when they don't retaliate is when you start thinking, wow, I should not have done that. Manze nimefanya ufala, understand? But hiyo time inakuwaga tu like vengeance. Like lazima huyo mtu, yani aliniacha, lazima nimuexpose. So it comes from a point of anger. Zile za anezaje niacha, anezaje nifanye hivyo na vile alikuwa amenipromise forever, hadi alikuwa amenipeleka kwa kina Madhi, hadi alikuwa hiyo wedo sasa hatutafanya, you understand? So it comes from a point of anger, a point of vengeance. That's why we are saying, hiyo kitu tunasema na Bobby, lazima msee akwe very mature, emotional intelligence, kindness.
But it's a process.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process you have to go through. And that's why I say, akunanga, hata tukisema it's not fair and it's not right. At the end of the day, kila mtu akona way yake ya kuheal. So I feel the way I will heal is not the way Bobby will heal, is not the way Ken atahil ama CJ. Kila mtu akona njia yake. Na mi usemanga, akunanga menu ya kuheal. Imagine you have to go through your healing process. So, it's not right. But kama hiyo ndio kitu itakumeku feel better, ndio nasema, it's not right and it's not fair. For me, honestly, I've never done something like that. Me personally, kama QT, sijawahi na siwezi. But kuna wale watu wana feeling ni kama inawapatia, sijui ni power, sijui ni kama inawapatia, I don't know what, nika fulfillment or something like that. Mtu ana feel, nikifanya hivi, hiyo ndio kitu itanifanya, niki-expose huyu mtu.
It will save your life.
It will save my life, you know. So wana feeling, niki-expose huyu mtu, venye Bubi amesema, watu wataona, huyu mtu ni mbaya. Let me be able to tell my part of the story. So there are people who feel, it's my way of communicating. Because this person, amenifanya nimekuwa mbaya mbele ya watu, but in real sense, yeye ndo mbaya. So anachukua hizo screenshots zote, anaanza kuonyesha watu, by the way, he's the bad guy, or she's the bad person, you understand? So kuna watu wanataka tu validation. They're just seeking validation.
Being the bigger person?
Being the bigger person, take emotional intelligence. And just to add on what Ken was saying, let me tell you something. Venye Ken anasema, women we heal at the crime scene. Tunakaanga, nakwambia dema anaweza kaa nawe hata 3 years. Atatulia, hey, madam, tutaka 3 years. Nimejam, but siongei 3 years. And when the woman stops, let me tell you, nakwambia, we heal at the crime scene. Wachiki venye Ken anasema ati, you don't know what women, we are the women that that Safin was describing. Cheki, take like 3 years, heal. Lakini nawe ile dentenda, mpaka huyo msi atabaki zile za, imagine mama alienda, mama anezaje enda. Una understand? Because hata we mwenyewe, you cannot be able to process. Yani unashindo mama aliendaje, alikuwa na heal time yote alikuwa hapo, alibreak, akaheal, akafanya kila kitu. Na napenda vile CJ amesema, napenda vile amesema kuna vitu zenye mimi personally najua kama QT singefanya ningekuwa na huyo mse, unaelewa? CJ amesema point very strong, like kuna vitu kama mimi saizi kama QT siwezi do, because some people wanakujaga na ile intimidation ya huyu dem amejielewa, anajua kile anafanya, anajua kile anataka, so mse anakam ni kama anataka kukudimia like right yako anda kukweka chini. But there are some things as QT I would not have done if I had a person beside me. That for sure I know. So sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. So when you're going through the breakup, manzi anza kuiangalia ka blessing because you're holding on to something that will probably destroy you in the end. So the best thing to actually do to heal that worked for me is that look at it as a blessing. Umse tu aondoke, mimi niendelee kushine, niendelee kufanya vitu zangu. Juu sometimes relationships zina hold back. Kuna vitu unataka kufanya ukiwa kwa relationship, but utafanya unaenda unaambia wewe mse anakuambia haiwezi
make. Na alisema unaweza ondokea kidogo upumue. You come if you're still not sure.
Yeah.
You
breathe.
Unaweza toka kidogo.
But breathe unaweza pia enda ukiendaga.
Uanze kuona. Kumbe unaweza upumue tu ujue what's going on.
Yeah.
Uone kama uko poa huku ama uko poa the other side.
Very dangerous.
CJ, is there a sanitary way of breaking up? And I also want to hear your thought on what we were just discussing, how the trend that goes around, and it's not even just on social media, even things that people say to family, friends about their exes. When you're really angry, at the heat of the moment you've just broken up with someone, there's a lot that is shared about the ex. What are your thoughts about that, and what is the impact, and if there's a sanitary way of doing it? Chini ya maji, maturely,
grown up,
nicely.
I just think that breaking up and then going out to expose the other person is just pure crazy. Whatever the reasons, it's just pure crazy.
Serious.
No, because, see, so you've broken up with this person, you want the world to know that they were not a good person. You never told us why you were getting into a relationship with them in the first place. So why is it now you feel the need to tell us why you're leaving? You didn't come up to tell us these are the good things about this person, that's why I'm beginning to date with them. So why are you coming to destroy something that you never built? You found somebody who had a personality, had a career, they were doing their own stuff. You found them in private, you hid them for a while. If it was in this day, you begin doing those reveals, what are they called? Soft launches. Because you were so sure this is such a good product, you don't want people to get to know immediately. You went through that process. When you're angry, now you want to bring you bring everything at the same time, and you want to tell us that this person... We
never met the good version. Suddenly we're just...
never met that. Then suddenly you feel the need to destroy this person. Yeah. That is the definition of witchcraft.
CJ, be nice. Oh, be nice.
Amen, brother.
Understand.
It is.
This person is...
No. You see, the fact that me and you have not agreed does not mean I should destroy you.
Yeah.
There was a whole life of you that was going on without us. So if we didn't work from the point of a relationship, why should I destroy your career? Your career had nothing to do with our relationship. And all your other relationships had nothing to do with our relationship. It's you and I who have just not worked. So why should I make everybody else look at you in a certain way? I'll have to say it as it is, like that. That is just being pure crazy, because you want to destroy this person in a way that they'll never recover. One time, I had somebody who was being accused at the workplace, and somebody just put up a very malicious email and said, this person is promoting people because of 1, 2, 3, sexual favors and all of that. And he came to talk to me, and I said, do you realize that this person wants to destroy your generations? Because you lose your job, your kids will not go to school. We don't really put a weight on what it means to destroy somebody's reputation. We don't put a weight on that. What does it mean to this person? What does it mean to the people who love them? What does it mean to the people who know them differently? So if we disagree, it's me and you.
What if that is their motive? You are serious.
But that's why I say, that's why I say that is
witchcraft.
That's witchcraft.
It's witchcraft.
That's what I'm saying is witchcraft. Because what's the difference between that and somebody going to a shrine to say, make sure this person...
Nice.
What's the difference?
No difference.
There's no
Even
difference.
their spiritual standing, if they're in
There's no
church,
difference in that.
Yeah.
So why do you want... And you see, when you go to places like social media, you're going to strangers. I can understand if you disagree with QT, then you go to QT's family and say, me and QT are having these issues and stuff, because you're talking to people who know her and people who are invested in what you're doing, or her close friends, and say, this is the issue we're having. Why are you bringing strangers to this thing, people who never even knew this person in the first place.
What if they're the ones who started that bad manners?
No matter what is happening.
CJ, let's be honest. Can I say something?
Imagine.
What do you do? No. You're trying not to be a witchcraft. You are just sleeping.
See, let me tell you something. I don't think you will win by doing that. Yeah. I don't think you will win. Exactly. You actually lower yourself. When a pig invites you to the mud, you need to learn how to say no to the invitation. Because you are not coming out of that mud clean. And the pig, that is where the pig plays every day. So you've got to understand, that's just not me. Sometimes the biggest thing you can ever do, and it's not for the other person, it's for yourself, is silence. Remember, you still have a life after this person. You have a career after this person. And most of us feed on our reputation. The reason why somebody will get you on a job, somebody will get you for a gig, somebody will get you for a consultancy or something is whom you are. So you're going to destroy all of this because of a moment of madness. No matter how much you feel you're justified, just walk away because you lose more than winning a fight with somebody who is probably crazy and then they begin to, they just keep it going. You have more to lose. And sometimes that is why it's good to take a break from the socials, block the other person. You see, you only respond to what you see. If you don't see it, it will never affect you. And you just cut it off. So I don't think there is any justification, even if they began it, Safin, even if they started.
It needs a certain level of maturity, though, because you can imagine somebody sharing really deep stuff and sensitive things about what you used to do as a couple when you were in love and when everything was going on. And then they start throwing mud at you, and you're just quiet. You're saying, silence is the weapon I'm going to use.
Ken is going to say something, but let me tell you something, Safin, about that. For people who do that, you need to know that nobody will ever trust you. Nobody will ever trust you. They may cheer you up at that moment. You're bringing that on Ken, but when you're done, nobody will ever trust you.
And this is what many people forget, that a 1 minute cheer is followed by a lifetime jeer. In this era of technology does not forget. Yeah? You're talking of hasira? What happened to your Swahili teacher who told you hasira hasara? Or you thought ni msamiati too for the sake of it? It is not just for the sake of it. In leadership, we always tell people that your legacy will be known the moment you leave the position you hold. That's when you cannot tell us about your legacy when you're still holding the position. The same thing happens in a relationship. Your maturity will be known if and when the breakup happens. I mean, what happens? There are two instances people should never know what happens. When you go to your washroom, the bathroom alone, and when you're under the sheet, either you're alone or with somebody else. Those are instances that people don't deserve to know. Sometimes I wish this show was an evening show. It's not rated.
Maybe one
because you cannot come to tell us somebody was not satisfying you, but at one particular time you were moaning and screaming his name. Why do we have to know some details? That's what I'm saying. Let's not get there. But there are details that we do not need to know. And the moment you introspect and ask yourself, if you continue fighting, what are you losing at the expense? There's so many good people out here. People who deserve to be loved by somebody of your character. But the moment I meet Bobby, and I feel like she's over screaming and then mimi nataka nimtulize, what you don't know, there are preys and predators out here who act as if they love you, but they want to take advantage of you. Equally, the same way we say there are men who use women, there are women who equally use men. It's a two-way kind of a traffic. And breakups don't have to be messy. Not all breakups people need to know. In any case, those people that you're telling just wanataka chai. In this Kenya, tunasemanga tunataka chai. But chai ikiisha, jioni watu wakunywangi chai. How long will that last? And at the end of the day, what impact has it brought on you? Don't go overexposing yourself. Because today you're telling us that I broke up last year. I have broken up twice this year. And then the next caption you're telling us, all men are dogs. By all means, who told you to try all men? You should have tried only a few and just one, and World Rabies Day umpeleke akadungwe sindano.
Yeah? Be nice. We are speaking to a very
let me now bring it on the flip side. it's okay to set boundaries,
All right.
even when you're getting into a relationship. That if and when it gets messy, there are things you should never allow yourself to do. You know, in the era of technology, the fear of screenshot is the beginning of wisdom. Ati unatumia screenshot ndio expose Bobby. What if now Bobby brings the side of a story? I've always insisted that there are 3 sides of a story. Your truth, my truth, and the truth. What if the real truth comes, and the moment you wanted to get the attraction from the people, they come and start realizing that niwe ulikuwa na uongo. You know, that is cyberbullying at the highest level. And some people and I like how Bobby introduced that there are some people whose heart break and they can never come back. You've seen Walking Zombies, people who thought they are going to expose other people until somebody now comes out with the truth and you're like, I should have kept my mouth quiet. Shit. What QT was talking about anger. I have said it in this show, that anger is a letter shy of danger. You just need to add a D before anger and it becomes danger. It could be dangerous. Some things don't work how you want it to work. It can go on the flip side. Have you thought about it? If it goes the south way, you thought it's going to go the north way, everybody will come with sympathy, they are going to like you, they're going to celebrate you. What if it goes south? Have you thought of the repercussion? Have you thought of the libel and the defamation that it can come with it?
All right. Roberta, you had a question.
No, sijasahau. Kwacha nianze na disclaimer. I don't support people exposing each other online, and I don't support, especially people who are like in a relationship. Kama ni employer wako anakutesa, please post for us ndo tujue tusiapply huko. Lakini kama ni relationship, like, you know, friendships, you guys had a relationship. I don't think that's a nice way to solve issues within any relationship. But as CJ was speaking, I just started thinking about, you know, trying to put myself in the shoes of the person who's feeling the hurt and being aggrieved. Yeah. This person is not reasoning like us. They're not thinking, oh, in retrospect, sijui the good things, sijui, oh, it was a blessing. They're not thinking all that. They're not thinking ati sijui Kenya amesema ati sijui it'll destroy, nobody will trust me. They're not thinking all that. They're thinking, I'm hurting. I need to solve this pain that I'm feeling right now. And nime-realize kuna difference sana between Gen Zs na millennials. Millennials wanaogopa sana. Millennials kwenda juu wanaogopa sana mambo za social media. A lot of the times when they speak, they'll be saying things like, you will hire you, where will you? But Gen Zs really don't care. They don't care about sijui if the employer sees what. So it's not even a point that can make them start to think, maybe I shouldn't post because my mother will... They don't care about all that. So to come back to the point of the person who's aggrieved, most of the times on this show, we've reached a consensus that women are yappers and they're always talking, and the men love to protect and stay reserved and to think and to stay quiet. So I'm thinking in the situation where this person who's aggrieved is speaking their piece, why do we demonize? I'm not saying they go and announce online. I'm saying they're speaking their piece. In whatever situation, CJ has given us an example of going to QT's family or whichever outlet they decide. Oh, first, my question is, what are the best places for you to, you know, communicate these feelings that you're feeling, especially if you feel like, let's say, shouting at Ken, but Ken is stonewalling you. So now where do I go? Because it's him I'm angry at. Na yendo amenikosea. Hiyo ni question ya kwanza. So I'm thinking about this aggrieved person who's not thinking about all these things that might counter them from posting online or sharing that they're sad or that you did this to them, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also thinking, as women a lot of times in society, I think this is a tool that is used to silence us because we sit in situations where we're being abused and we stay quiet. Why? Because when you speak up, you're destroying someone's reputation, you're destroying someone's family, you're destroying someone's... Na by the way, inaweza kuwa mmekosana mutually ama mmekoseana mutually. Si lazima tu ikuwe dem ndo amekosewa. Whatever the situation is. Why is it that when someone speaks up, the first thing we think is to try and protect the other person's reputation, and we forget that we need to validate this person's feelings and give them a space to be able to say what it is they're feeling, whether it is wrong, right, a lie, and I'm not talking about abuse, I'm not talking about naongea juu hizi kukosana zenye tunaweza kumbuka tulipeana disclaimer kama mtu anakutwanga, that's not the person I'm talking about. You know, so I feel like a lot of times as women we are just expected to stay quiet and to keep quiet in these situations, and then when we speak up, she's lying, where is the proof, where is the, and then when we still post, she's destroying his whatever, she's saying sijui what. So how would be the best way for us to come out without being made to feel like what we're doing is wrong? Because if I'm feeling pain, where else am I supposed to go?
I'm trying to cut you short so that I get
topic for another
minutes for those questions
to answer you, but not
be answered. I want those questions to be answered. That's why I've cut her short. And let me throw it to CJ, and then we'll go into the round of closing remarks.
Okay.
First of all, where do you vent? Where do you vent? And then number two, she's asked, why is it that when a woman speaks out, she's judged, she's told you're destroying these persons? But I'm also questioning the motive, as a woman, the motive behind why is this woman sharing? Kama mshaachana, why is it necessary for you to start talking ill about this man? That's also should be my other question, but
so let's pick it from the number two. The way Bobby has brought it to a gender thing is an issue for me.
Correct.
Because we were speaking generally. Whether it is the man who is sharing or the woman, whichever way, it is still wrong. Because there are men also who do that. There are men who will go out and destroy those women. They will say all kinds of stuff. They'll say this woman was sleeping with everybody. I have handled a case at one point where a guy accused his wife. He said they had shifted 8 times. These are people I know. These are people I've mentored and raised. And he said they had shifted houses 8 times because he said his wife was sleeping with every neighbor. And I said, you're going crazy. So even men will do that. And this is a girl I knew. Even this is a girl I knew from before, but he came up and this was his story. And I said, that's impossible, you know. So whether it is the man who is saying this or the woman who is saying that, it is wrong. You see, the fact that you're feeling a certain way does not mean you should act another way. The fact that you're feeling a certain way, you may be aggrieved genuinely, but still, how you handle that anger and pain is your responsibility. You can't just get stressed and go out on the road right now and start punching everybody and say it's because you're stressed. You will face the consequences.
By the time they realize
you will face the consequences. You can't burn your house today and say it's because that's how I was feeling. Why is it that we control our emotions with everything else, apart from when it comes to a relationship? That would be giving people a bit too much leeway, you know. There are times, even as a mother, sometimes you may feel very hurt by your child, but how are you going to act with that? How are you going to treat that child?
The other question, and then give us your...
the thing of where to vent, there are people who this person may listen to, or people who would understand you. People that you know, well, I can vent, and this will be very valid, but it will still be kept among us. And it could be wide. It could be the larger family. You see, this is how we used to solve things before. And it's not really a generational thing, Bob, because I'm raising from millennials to Gen Alpha. I live with them daily, so it's not even the people I meet outside. I've got a 28-year-old in my house. I've got an 11-year-old, all of them. And they don't all act the same. My son, who is 21, you will never know what he does. He will get on a flight, he won't even tell you. He will be in another country. You will beg him for photos and videos. You will know nothing about what he does, I tell you. He will be a school president and you will hear it from somebody else. So it's not really generational, it's personality as well. Because there are people who are older who will share everything else out there. But there are people that you can go to. In the past, we would go to family and you'd know, if I reach out to this family, we will have conversations. All the venting will be done there. All the ugly stuff will come out there. By the time we finish, people will say, okay, well, you have done this, you're responsible for this, you've done this, so you people forgive, work out, but not strangers.
Just
I think you should start shopping for these people before the crisis happens. I mean, just build yourself. social space to know that you have these two go-to people in case you really need somebody to talk to. Yeah. As we close.
Yeah, as we close, my closing remarks would be, you can go vent in the mountains, in the forest, blast that music, take that trip, just do what you have to do for you to heal. I'm talking from a point of experience, like do what you have to do. You need to grieve. Heartbreak is crazy. As Bobby said, you can die from heartbreak. So if you need to go shout in the mountains, go and shout. If you need to go shout in the forest, go do it. If you need to blast that music, sleep yourself to cry, you need to go through the grieving process. Allow yourself to cry.
Don't skip that process.
Don't skip that process. If you need to text that person for you to heal, because other people will tell you, don't call him, don't text him. If texting him will make you heal, do what you have to do for yourself.
Andika hizo novel.
Andika hizo vitabu.
As long as it's making you feel you're healing.
Najua leo tunaongelelea mtu ameumia, lakini wacha niongelelea mtu anaumizana. Lakini pia wewe ama mtu anaachana, pia wewe fikiria venye una affect the other person. Please be kind in your delivery. Be kind in you letting them go. Be kind in, easing the process. Not everyone is where you are at emotionally. They might be way more immature than you. They might be the type to run and post on social media. Right. So just be careful how you treat other people so that tunafix hapa, to fix huko sale isha happen, tunafix kutoka mwanzo.
I like that you've said vile utaifanya, si ati usimuache.
Kuachana lazima.
Because you could be having muache, lakini think about how you're doing it.
Yeah.
For me, I would say, when you get into a relationship, never forget yourself. I've insisted on this. Always have people who can support you. Because the moment you lose other people so that you can centralize your relationship to kwetu sisi wawili, where will you go to? It's always good to have social capital that can support you when things don't go right. But people who can keep secrets again.
Yeah, I think we should talk about now healing, beginning to heal. Sawa uko na hasira, sawa umepost, sawa umetext, sawa umefanya hizo zote. But then how do you move on from that space? Because there has to come that day yenye utaamka useme sawa. Nimeharibu, nimechafua, nimebomoa, nimemtext, nimefanya kila kitu, hasira sasa iishe. How do you move on from that point to become now the new version of you and to begin even moving on? That's something we should be picking up in the near future. But thank you for creating time to watch the show this morning. We agree at least you don't have to get yourself in danger just because you're angry. Think about the consequences. Whatever you do, think about the consequences first before you do that. My name is Safina Chengoma. Always a pleasure to do this for you. Keep watching Citizen TV and have a lovely day ahead.